I need to be completely honest with you right now. I've been tracking retail discontinuation patterns across multiple major store chains for the past 7 years. Not just Walmart, not just Costco. Every major retailer simultaneously: Target, Kroger, Safeway, Publix, Aldi, and a dozen regional chains. And what I'm seeing happen across all of them in 2026 is something I've never documented before in 7 years of tracking. 11 specific products are being discontinued at virtually every major retail chain simultaneously in 2026. Same products, same timing, different stores. That kind of synchronized discontinuation doesn't happen by accident. It happens when an industry-wide supply chain or margin shift forces every retailer to make the same decision at the same time. Number 9 on this list has been on American store shelves continuously since 1987. 39 years without interruption across every major retail chain in the country. And it's being pulled from all of them this year at the same time for the first time in its entire retail history. And when I reveal number 1, you're going to feel an urgency you haven't felt before because it's the product that every household in America uses every single day without exception, and every major retailer is simultaneously moving it to online-only or premium replacement formats starting this quarter. Hit that subscribe button right now because this channel tracks retail intelligence across every major store chain simultaneously, and nobody else is doing this at this level. Let's get into it. Product number 1 is standard incandescent light bulbs in the multi-pack format, and the synchronized discontinuation of incandescent bulbs across every major retailer in 2026 is the most impactful household product elimination of this decade. Here's why this matters. The federal government's updated energy efficiency standards taking effect in 2026 are forcing every major retailer to eliminate standard incandescent bulb inventory simultaneously. This is not a voluntary business decision by individual retailers. It is a regulatory mandate hitting every store at exactly the same time. The replacement LED bulbs cost 2 to 4 times more per unit, and while they last longer, the upfront cost increase hits household budgets immediately and significantly. Here's the thing about incandescent bulbs that preppers specifically understand. LED bulbs are sensitive to power fluctuations, extreme temperatures, and humidity in ways that incandescent bulbs are not. In a grid-down scenario where power is intermittent and voltage is unstable, incandescent bulbs survive conditions that destroy LED bulbs instantly. For emergency lighting applications where power quality is unreliable, incandescent bulbs are the more robust choice. I talked to a hardware store manager who has been in retail lighting for 22 years. He told me that his store is liquidating its entire incandescent inventory this quarter at clearance prices before the regulatory deadline hits. He said once they're gone from retail shelves, they will only be available through specialty industrial suppliers at dramatically higher prices. Price breakdown. Multi-packs of standard incandescent bulbs are currently being clearanced at $3.97 to $6.97 at most retailers. That is 50 cents to 87 cents per bulb. Equivalent LED replacements run $2.47 to $4.97 per bulb. For a household maintaining a serious emergency lighting supply of 100 bulbs, the cost difference is $147 to $410 more expensive in LED format for comparable quantity. I personally bought 200 incandescent bulbs in various wattages 6 months ago. Total cost was $89.40. I store them in their original packaging inside sealed plastic totes in my basement. Shelf life on stored incandescent bulbs is essentially indefinite. They do not degrade in storage. Storage is dead simple. Original packaging, sealed tote, dry location. 200 emergency lighting bulbs for under $90. Buy 200 bulbs at clearance prices before they're gone entirely. Product number 2 is standard alkaline 9-volt batteries in the multi-pack format, and 9-volt batteries are the most critically undervalued emergency supply in any household preparedness kit. Here's why this matters. 9-volt batteries power smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, and a range of critical safety devices that protect your household from two of the most common causes of home fatality. In any crisis scenario where household stress and improvised heating and cooking methods increase fire and co risks dramatically, functioning smoke and co detectors become more important than under normal conditions, not less. And every one of those detectors runs on a 9-volt battery. Retailers are discontinuing the multi-pack 9-volt format in favor of single-unit blister pack sales at dramatically higher per battery costs. The multi-pack format has been the prep purchase for 9-volt batteries for years, and it's being eliminated across every major retail chain simultaneously as part of the same battery category. Restructuring affecting multiple battery formats. Price breakdown: a 4-pack of alkaline 9-volt batteries currently runs $8.97 to $11.97 at most retailers. That is $2.24 to $2.99 per battery. Single-unit 9-volt batteries run $4.47 to $5.97 each. When the multi-pack disappears, your cost per battery increases by 99 to 100%. For a household maintaining 29-volt batteries in rotation, reasonable for multiple detectors plus emergency devices, that difference is $44.60 to $59.40 per supply cycle. I personally bought 54 packs of alkaline 9-volt batteries 8 months ago. Total cost was $498.50. That is 200 9-volt batteries stored in a sealed, climate-controlled tote in my basement. Alkaline batteries properly stored maintain 80% charge capacity for 10 years. Think about this practically. 209-volt batteries for under $500 covering every smoke detector, co-detector, and 9-volt powered device in my household for a decade. The cost is absolutely reasonable for the safety coverage it provides. Buy 54 packs at current multi-pack pricing before this format disappears. Product number 3 is store brand vegetable shortening in the 3-pound can format, and shortening is being discontinued across multiple retail chains simultaneously as premium cooking oils capture the shelf space that shortening has occupied for generations. Here's why this matters. Shortening is irreplaceable for specific baking applications, pie crusts, biscuits, certain bread textures that no other fat can replicate with identical results. For preppers who understand that baking from scratch is a critical survival skill, shortening is an essential ingredient that cannot be substituted without significant quality loss in the baked goods that provide the most morale and caloric value in emergency food scenarios. Beyond baking, shortening has emergency utility as an improvised candle fuel, a skin and leather conditioner, and a high-heat cooking fat for open-flame cooking applications. It is genuinely multi-purpose in ways that most cooking fats are not. Retailers across the board are reducing shortening shelf space to 1/3 of its previous allocation and moving toward online-only availability for the can format. The margin profile on shortening doesn't compete with premium olive oil and avocado oil products that generate 2 to 3 times the revenue per linear shelf foot. Price breakdown. The 3-pound shortening can currently runs $4.97 to $6.47 at most retailers. That is $1.66 to $2.16 per pound. Premium cooking oil replacements run $4.97 to $8.97 per pound equivalent. When shortening disappears from physical shelves, you lose the most affordable multi-purpose cooking fat available at retail. For a prepper maintaining 30 pounds of shortening, buying now versus later saves $99 to $201. I personally bought 15 3-pound cans of vegetable shortening 9 months ago. Total cost was $89.55. Shelf life on commercially sealed shortening cans is 2 years at room temperature and significantly longer in cool storage. Storage is straightforward: original sealed cans, cool, dark location. Buy 15 cans before this format is eliminated from physical shelves. Product number 4 is store brand powdered laundry detergent in the large box format, and laundry detergent is the hygiene essential that most preppers dramatically understock relative to its importance in extended crisis scenarios. Here's why this matters. Clothing hygiene in an extended crisis scenario is a genuine health protection function, not a comfort function. Clean clothing prevents skin infections, reduces pathogen transmission, and maintains the psychological sense of normalcy and dignity that is a documented factor in survival psychology. Military field hygiene protocols have prioritized laundry capability in every major conflict of the modern era because commanders understood that hygiene breakdown directly correlates with health degradation and morale collapse. Powdered laundry detergent in the large box format is being discontinued across every major retail chain in favor of liquid detergent pods and concentrated liquid formats. The large powder box has been the budget prep purchase for laundry supplies for decades, and every major retailer is eliminating it simultaneously in 2026. Price breakdown. Large box store brand powdered detergent currently runs $11.97 to $14.97 at most retailers, providing 80 to 100 loads. That is 12 to 18 cents per load. Replacement pod formats run 28 to 35 cents per load. When the large powder box disappears, your cost per laundry load increases by 55 to 191%. I personally bought 20 large boxes of powdered detergent 11 months ago. Total cost was $259.40. Properly stored powdered laundry detergent in sealed containers maintains full effectiveness indefinitely. I store mine in original boxes inside sealed plastic totes in my basement. Storage is dead simple. Sealed tote, dry location, away from moisture. 20 boxes of indefinite shelf life laundry capability for $259. Buy 20 boxes before this format is gone. Every item on this list is being discontinued across multiple retailers simultaneously for the same underlying reason. Retail category managers at every major chain attend the same industry conferences, read the same category management research, and respond to the same margin optimization pressures. When one major chain makes a format change that improves their per square foot revenue metrics, every other chain implements the identical change within 1 to 2 planning cycles. That synchronized behavior is exactly what's creating this wave of simultaneous discontinuations in 2026. And the prepper who understands this pattern acts now while current formats still exist. Quick pause before items 5 through 11. I've built a free 2026 multi-retailer discontinuation tracker that covers every item on this list plus 30 additional products being eliminated across multiple chains simultaneously this year. Current pricing, projected cost increases, and storage protocols for everything. Link is in the description. Download it free right now. Product number 5 is store brand aspirin in the 500 count bottle format, and the synchronized elimination of large format aspirin across every major retailer simultaneously represents one of the most significant medical preparedness losses of 2026. Here's why this matters. Aspirin's cardiac emergency application, immediate administration during a suspected heart attack, is a documented life-saving intervention included in emergency medical protocols worldwide. In any crisis scenario where emergency services are delayed, aspirin is frontline cardiac emergency medicine that every household needs immediately accessible. Losing large format availability across every retailer simultaneously makes serious aspirin stockpiling significantly more expensive. Every major retailer is moving the 500 count aspirin format to online only or eliminating it entirely from physical shelves in 2026. The shelf space is being reallocated to premium pain relief brands with significantly higher margin profiles. Price breakdown. The 500 count store brand aspirin currently runs $9.97 to $11.97 at most retailers. That is 2 to 2.4 cents per tablet. Replacement 100 count bottles run $4.47 to $5.97, which is 4.5 to 5.97 cents per tablet. When the 500 count disappears, your cost per tablet increases by 125 to 199%. For a family maintaining 2,000 aspirin tablets in storage, that difference is $49 to $75 more expensive. I personally bought 15 500 count bottles of store-brand aspirin 10 months ago. Total cost was $164.55. That is 7,500 aspirin tablets stored in original sealed bottles in a climate-controlled medical supply area. Aspirin properly stored maintains potency for 4 to 5 years past printed expiration dates. Think about this practically. 7,500 aspirin tablets for $164.55 covering cardiac emergency response, fever management, and pain relief for years. Buy 15 bottles before every retailer eliminates this format simultaneously. Product number 6 is store-brand hydrogen peroxide in the 32-ounce bottle format, and hydrogen peroxide is the wound care and sanitation essential that is being reformatted and repriced across every major retailer in 2026. Here's why this matters. 3% hydrogen peroxide is an EPA-registered antimicrobial agent and wound irrigation solution that has been the standard first aid antiseptic for over a century. In any crisis scenario where wound infection represents a genuine medical threat, hydrogen peroxide is frontline wound care. It also functions as a produce sanitizer, a surface disinfectant, a mold treatment, and a water purification enhancement, making it one of the most genuinely multi-purpose medical and sanitation items available at retail. Retailers are moving away from the 32-ounce format towards smaller 16-ounce bottles at higher per-ounce costs. The category restructuring is hitting every major chain simultaneously. Price breakdown. The 32-ounce store-brand hydrogen peroxide currently runs $1.97 to $2.47 at most retailers. That is 6.2 to 7.7 cents per ounce. The replacement 16-ounce bottle runs $1.47 to $1.97, which is 9.2 to 12.3 cents per ounce. That is a 48 to 60% cost increase per ounce. For a prepper maintaining 2 gallons of hydrogen peroxide in storage, that difference is $9.60 to $14.40 per supply build. I personally bought 60 32-ounce bottles of hydrogen peroxide 12 months ago. Total cost was $142.20. Shelf life on sealed hydrogen peroxide is 2 to 3 years unopened. I rotate every 20 months. Storage is dead simple: original sealed bottles, cool dark location, away from light which degrades potency. 60 bottles of multi-purpose wound care and sanitation resource for $142.20. The cost is minimal. Buy 60 bottles now. Product number 7 is store-brand isopropyl alcohol at 91% concentration in the 32-ounce bottle, and isopropyl alcohol is simultaneously the most effective surface disinfectant, wound antiseptic, and equipment sterilization agent available at any retail price point. Here's why this matters. 91% isopropyl alcohol kills 99.99% of bacteria, viruses, and fungi on contact. It evaporates completely without residue. It sterilizes medical instruments, disinfects surfaces, cleans wounds, and serves as a fire-starting fuel in emergency situations. No other single product at this price point delivers this combination of medical and practical utility. The 32-ounce format at 91% concentration is being discontinued across multiple retail chains in favor of smaller bottles at lower concentrations, typically 70%, which are less effective for sterilization applications. 70% isopropyl is adequate for general surface cleaning. 91% is required for proper instrument sterilization and maximum antimicrobial effectiveness. Price breakdown. The 32-ounce 91% isopropyl alcohol currently runs $3.97 to $4.97 at most retailers. That is 12.4 to 15.5 cents per ounce. The replacement smaller 70% format runs higher per ounce at lower effectiveness. For a prepper who understands the difference between 70 and 91% concentration, the current 91% format is genuinely irreplaceable at this price point. I personally bought 40 32-ounce bottles of 91% isopropyl alcohol 9 months ago. Total cost was $178.80. Shelf life on sealed isopropyl alcohol is 2 to 3 years. I store mine in original sealed bottles away from heat and ignition sources. Isopropyl alcohol is flammable and requires appropriate storage awareness. Storage is straightforward with the flammability caveat. Original sealed bottles, cool location, away from any ignition sources. 40 bottles of maximum strength disinfectant for $178.80. Buy 40 bottles before this format disappears. Product number 8 is store brand white rice in the 20-pound bag format, and the synchronized elimination of large format rice bags across every major retailer in 2026 represents the single most impactful food storage loss for budget preppers this year. Here's why this matters. 20-pound rice bags have been the cornerstone of budget food storage for generations. The cost per pound at the 20-pound format delivers caloric security at a price point that no other format matches. And when every major retailer simultaneously eliminates this format, the budget prepper loses access to the most affordable caloric foundation available at retail. Every major chain, Walmart, Target, Kroger, Safeway, Publix, is reducing or eliminating the 20-pound rice bag format simultaneously as part of the 2026 planogram reset cycle. The shelf space economics favor smaller bags that turn faster. Price breakdown. The 20-pound store brand rice bag currently runs $12.97 to $15.97 at most retailers. That is 65 to 80 cents per pound. The replacement 5-pound bags run $3.47 to $4.97, which is 69 cents to $1 per pound. When the 20-pound format disappears everywhere simultaneously, your cost per pound increases by 6 to 25% and you're managing 4 times as many bags. I personally bought 15 20-pound bags of white rice 13 months ago. Total cost was $209.55. I repackaged all 300 pounds into food-grade buckets with oxygen absorbers. Properly stored white rice lasts 25 to 30 years. 300 pounds of 30-year shelf-life caloric foundation for $209.55. Think about this practically. 300 pounds of rice represents approximately 480,000 calories. For a family of 4, that is 60 days of complete caloric coverage from rice alone. Buy 15 20-pound bags before every retailer eliminates this format simultaneously. When the same products disappear from every major retailer at the same time, the secondary market price spike is dramatically more severe than when a single retailer discontinues something. If Walmart drops a product but Target still carries it, prices stay relatively controlled. When Walmart, Target, Kroger, and every other major chain drop the same product simultaneously, there is no retail alternative. Online prices spike immediately and dramatically. That is exactly what is about to happen with every item on this list. Buy at current retail pricing right now before the synchronized discontinuation creates a secondary market price spike with no retail ceiling to control it. Product number 9 is Kodak Color Film in the multi-pack format, and this is the item I referenced in the hook, the product that has been on American store shelves continuously since 1987 and is being pulled from every major retailer simultaneously in 2026. Here's why this matters. Film photography is the only photographic technology that functions completely independently of digital infrastructure, power grids, and internet connectivity. In a genuine grid down or infrastructure collapse scenario, film cameras are the only devices capable of creating permanent photographic documentation of property, identification, medical conditions, and critical records that survive without digital infrastructure. For preppers who think seriously about documentation needs in long-term crisis scenarios, film is an absolutely essential technology. Beyond emergency documentation, film cameras work in extreme temperatures, wet conditions, and rough handling that destroys digital cameras. A film camera dropped in water can be dried and used. A digital camera dropped in water is gone forever. Retailers are pulling film from physical shelves entirely in 2026. The margin profile and turnover rate of film products no longer justifies the shelf space in any major retail format. Film will move entirely to specialty photography retailers and online-only channels at dramatically higher prices. Price breakdown. Kodak film multipacks currently run $18.97 to $24.97 at retailers still carrying them. That is $6.32 to $8.32 per roll. Specialty photography retailer pricing runs $14.99 to $19.99 per roll. When retail availability disappears, your cost per roll increases by 137 to 240%. I personally bought 30 multipacks of Kodak film 8 months ago. Total cost was $659.10. Film stored in a refrigerator maintains full quality for 2 to 3 years past expiration date. Frozen film maintains quality for 5 to 10 years. I store mine in a dedicated refrigerator in my basement. Storage requires refrigeration for maximum longevity. This is the one item on this list with specific temperature storage requirements. Buy 30 multi-packs and refrigerate immediately. Product number 10 is store brand multivitamins in the 365-count annual supply bottle, and the synchronized elimination of the annual supply format across every major retailer is a critical medical preparedness loss. Here's why this matters. A 365-count bottle provides exactly 1 year of daily nutritional insurance in a single purchase. For preppers, this format is perfect. 1 purchase per year per person covers complete micronutrient coverage for an entire year at the best per tablet cost available. And every major retailer is simultaneously moving away from this format towards smaller bottles that require more frequent purchasing. The nutritional protection provided by daily multivitamins in a crisis scenario is genuinely critical. Micronutrient deficiencies emerge within weeks to months of dietary restriction and directly impair immune function, cognitive performance, and physical endurance, the exact capabilities most critical in a crisis scenario. Price breakdown? The 365-count store brand multivitamin currently runs $12.97 to $15.97 at most retailers. That is 3.6 to 4.4 cents per day of complete nutritional coverage. Replacement 180-count bottles run $8.97 to $11.97, which is 5 to 6.7 cents per day. When the 365-count disappears, your daily coverage cost increases by 39 to 52%. I personally bought 20 365-count multivitamin bottles 14 months ago. Total cost was $279.40. That is 20 years of daily multivitamin coverage for 1 person stored in original sealed bottles in a climate-controlled room. Multivitamins maintain 80% potency for 3 to 5 years past expiration in proper storage. Think about this practically: 20 years of nutritional insurance for $279.40. Buy 20 bottles before every retailer eliminates this annual supply format. Product number 11 is store brand petroleum jelly in the large 13-ounce jar format, and petroleum jelly closes this list as the most genuinely multi-purpose single product available at any retail price point that is being simultaneously discontinued across every major chain. Here's why this matters. Petroleum jelly functions as a wound protective barrier, a skin moisturizer in extreme dry conditions, a chapped lip treatment, a fire-starting aid when combined with cotton balls. A metal rust prevention coating, a squeaking hinge lubricant, a leather conditioner, a diaper rash treatment, and a cold weather skin protectant. 14 documented utility applications from a single $3 jar. No other product at this price point comes close. The large 13-ounce jar format is being discontinued across every major retailer in favor of smaller 7-ounce jars at higher per-ounce costs. Shelf space optimization is driving the same format reduction that's affecting every other item on this list. Price breakdown. The 13-ounce store brand petroleum jelly currently runs $2.97 to $3.97 at most retailers. That is 22.8 to 30.5 cents per ounce. The replacement 7-ounce jar runs $2.47 to $2.97, which is 35.3 to 42.4 cents per ounce. When the large jar disappears, your cost per ounce increases by 39 to 55%. Petroleum jelly has an indefinite shelf life in sealed containers. I personally bought 40 13-ounce jars of petroleum jelly 7 months ago. Total cost was $138.80. That is 40 jars of indefinite shelf life multi-purpose resource stored in a single tote in my basement. They will never expire, they will never degrade, they simply wait until needed. Storage is dead simple. Original sealed jars, any location, any temperature, indefinite shelf life, zero maintenance. 40 jars of 14-function multi-purpose prep resource for $138.80. The cost is minimal. The utility is absolutely extraordinary. Buy 40 large jars before every retailer eliminates this format simultaneously. There you have it. 11 products being discontinued at every major store simultaneously in 2026. Items chosen not randomly, but because they represent the complete household and preparedness supply picture from lighting to medicine to food to hygiene to emergency tools. The pattern is absolutely clear. Every major retailer is executing the same category optimization strategy simultaneously in 2026, eliminating large formats, multi-packs, and bulk purchase options in favor of smaller units. Premium alternatives, and online-only availability. The motivation is identical across every chain. Better per square foot revenue, higher transaction frequency, improved margin profiles. Your interests as a bulk buyer and a prepper are not part of any of those calculations. What makes this wave of discontinuations uniquely impactful compared to previous years is the synchronized timing. When every major retailer eliminates the same products in the same planning cycle, there is no retail alternative, no store to drive to. No competing chain still carrying the large format at reasonable prices. Just online secondary markets with no retail price ceiling controlling what you pay. Go to every major retailer near you in the next 72 hours, every store, walk every section covered in this video. Buy meaningful quantities of every item you find still available in the large format or multi-pack. This is not the time to be cautious. This is the time to act decisively while current pricing and current formats still exist. The money you save buying these 11 items at today's synchronized retail pricing will be substantial across every category. The peace of mind will be even better than the savings. Download the free 2026 multi-retailer discontinuation tracker from the description link. 30 additional products confirmed for simultaneous elimination this year with full pricing analysis. Completely free right now. And if this video gave you the intelligence you needed to act before the window closes, and I know it did, hit that subscribe button because I will keep tracking every retail chain simultaneously and bringing you the discontinuation intelligence before it affects your family's preparedness. Stay smart out there. I'll see you in the next video.